My father moved from a city to a village. I thought he was crazy. We lived in the city in the apartment. He had a job. Once I came to visit him in the village. My father was busy with the cows. I wondered why he did that. For a long time, I did not understand this. When I got older, I changed my attitude. I got the point. I felt the hidden meaning of a cow before I watched them on TV as cattle that graze. Now I see the cow as a person.
We have been staying at the cow shelter for 2 days. It is called Bhumi. It means earth from Sanskrit. Oleg Mikhailovich came up with a brilliant formula. This formula describes the way people can take care of cows. He bought cows from all farmers, and after that he gave these cows for them to use. The farmers take milk from the cows, take care of them. There is only one important condition. These cows must die their natural death.
I take care of the cows. I see that the people who I have to buy the cows from to save them from the slaughterhouse are good and kind people. They do not kill these cows because they hate them. How can you hate a living creature that have been giving you food for 10 to 15 years? A liter of milk costs as much as a liter of water. You go to the store and buy mineral water for 10 hryvnias for a half a liter. You go to the market and buy a liter of milk for 10 to 15 hryvnias. What does it mean to produce water? You open the tap and fill the bottle. And what about milk? You need to take care of this cow. Feed it, milk it, clean it, treat it, etc. The economy is set so that the maintenance of cows is unprofitable. We don't even try to profit from this. We don't try to build a business model. We understand one thing: we need to save them. Because the system is merciless. If it is not profitable, it should not exist. This is a group of suicide bombers who were sentenced to death by people. We make maximum effort to save their lives, to let them graze in the meadows that we have shot this morning. We want them graze and enjoy their lives. What about us? For us, it would be enough to see this picture. Happiness fills us because we were able to save someone. Someone escaped this cruel fate, escaped the knife. That is why we stay in this village. We had a call from our friends from Crimea. They said the situation is very difficult here. We have cows. Locals are very angry with the cows. They entered the vineyard, the kitchen garden. They gave us an ultimatum. If we do not take out the cows within 24 hours, they will simply send them to the slaughterhouse. Can you take these cows? When I heard that the cows are in danger, I said, yes, of course. I asked, what do we need to do for this? They said it takes 3,000 hryvnias to pay for their transportation by car. I said, do it. It took us a day to do preparations. We prepared sheds, hay, and hay loft for them. The neighbor came and said, I see you love cows so much. I have 2 cows. They have already served me. They're old. I want to change them for a new one. I don't want to give old cows to the slaughterhouse. Can I give them to your cowshed? We answered him, yes, of course. A lot of people come. So we're thinking of buying other houses in order to settle. Afanasievich is selling all his household not far from here. And we could not say, we will buy all of this and send the cows to the slaughterhouse. We said, of course, we will take them. And so this is how Marta and Zorka came to our cowshed. Marta gave life to Rama, milked 5 years without calving. Then the neighbors brought some cows. 2 calves were born here. Once I was passing the neighbor. They were loading a little calf on the trailer. I asked, "Where are you going?" "He still has his umbilical cord undried." She said, "What can I do?" "He drinks 10 liters of milk a day." For half a year, this calf drinks milk as much as the price of a cow. It is absolutely unprofitable for me to keep it, and I'm giving it away. I asked, "How much does it cost?" She said, 500 hryvnia. Thank God we had enough milk, many cows and only 2 calves. I gave 500 hryvnia and took this calf. This is the first calf we bought. I put it in the pen. Now this calf and 2 others play happily together. I came to the barn in the mornings. I prayed. The prayer is called japa. While I was reading japa, I was observing the behavior of the calves. I noticed the next pattern. 2 calves that were born from cows in our cowshed were absolutely happy. They were such frisky kids. They radiated with happiness. The calf I took from the neighbor, although he also received 10 liters of milk, sat aside. He tried to play, but there was some sadness in him. I could not understand why. I asked the guys if he had drunk milk. They said yes. Physically everything was fine. He didn't have diarrhea. He ate, drank like others. Why was he unhappy? After some observation, I noticed 2 calves who were born here talking over the fence with mothers, mooing to each other all days long. The other one was bleating plaintively, not even moo, but me. But as a response was only silence. Mom did not respond because she was far away. I realized that the happiness of this calf was not in the amount of milk he had, not in the amount of comfort we gave him, not even in the life itself. Communication with his mother was extremely important to him. According to the nature of cows, a mother gives milk to a calf. The calf is conceived, is born. Love of cow mother increases and she gives milk. What was in the reality? People milked the cow and took the milk to the market for selling. The calf was going to be sent to the slaughterhouse.
Расстилалась плющом, украшалась дождем, желтый лист плетая в косу. Шли стада оседлых жнецов, утекала вода в устья рек, замирала звезда на закате дня, засыпал в траве человек. Ай, люли, люли мои, баю-баюшки, люли мои, ай, джатаки, жалом джатаки, аум намах шивая.
When you crawl under the bull, all these subtle demonic entities stay behind.
Really? Can I lie down under it without crawling? Right here, under the neck.
No, you cannot. It is necessary to crawl between the legs.
I'm afraid. Can he kick me?
This is a question.
I really wanted to talk about the importance of cows. These are not just animals. They are not just pure animals. These are magical animals, magical creators. The cow is the mother. It is talked a lot, but not everyone understands. The woman who wants to have a child must ask for the blessing of the cow. The cow gives the woman this amazing energy. to become healthy and carry the child, to feel this material energy in herself. This is very important. In a nutshell, can be even described the magic of a cow. Besides all the blessings that I asked, I also ask cows for blessings. Women need to communicate with cows, as well as men need to communicate with bulls, because men now have lack of real male energy that exists in bulls.
I had an association that the bulls are aggressive and can attack people, but it turns out that they're like dogs. You give them food and they run to you. It is especially scary when such a giant of 200 to 300 kilograms runs at you. At this moment, there is a thought in your head, this is the end, I'll be knocked down. But instead, he starts to lick you and play. It makes you surprised. At this moment, there is a revolution in consciousness. Then he communicated with little calves. It was amazing. Roughly speaking, when people buy meat, they buy a certain product. They do not have communication with these animals. And when you begin to communicate with these animals, you understand that they have character, emotions. Someone is afraid of you, someone is very friendly, someone is interested in you, and he tries to study you. You understand that there is a consciousness in these animals. Such thing really captivates us.
It is necessary to be in her perimeter so that she can examine you, look at you and your energy. Because cows feel energy very well, like all animals in principle. You need to come up and give them your hand and they sniff you. Then little by little you start petting the cow. And the point is to pet in the right places and hard. People try to pet a cow like a cat. This is not a kitty. The cow has thick skin and fat that needs to be pet hard. Then they like it. When you pet them gently, they begin to push. If they do it, then it's a sign, do it harder. That is the psychology of the cow. They love being petted under the neck, behind the ears. I warn everyone that you cannot touch the horns. They do not like it. Wow, is he sociable?
One farm was disbanded. All the cows were brought to us from that place, and here's Viraj and another mare. Bulls in farms stay maximum for 1.5 or 2 years. After that, they become extremely dangerous for their hosts. Yamunachka, hello. Hi, dear. You're a beggar. You wonder what we have for you?
She has to act in movies. It's a unicorn cow. Oh, she's licking me, honey.
Do you see it? He has strong legs.
I think he's the biggest here.
He's the biggest. These are Balarama and Hamsi. That Red Bull and other one can be harnessed to a cart in a pair. They're trained to carry cargo. In other words, they serve people by their strength. At the same time, you can see it looks like marble. It took some time before I became a shepherd. I was thinking about the work of my life. What was good, what was bad. I read a lot. I had a spiritual diary where I recorded my awareness, notes, meetings with interesting people. When I arrived at Bezvodnaya, I wrote up 60 pages in one day. Here I had more realizations than I had had before in 3 years. It all came together. We want clean water, clean air. We want to do right activity. Simple life with cows is the answer. People go to the gym in the cities. Me too. When I live and work in the city, I go to the gym to keep fit. But in the village, I just carry bales to feed the cows and calves and increase the muscle mass. I talked a lot with people from abroad. For 10 years, we were best friends with Karsten Grunwald. He's a German. He dedicated his life to education. He travels around the world. This organization is called DAODA. They spend millions of euros on educational activities in Africa, in the third world countries. Here's a set of established rules. Build a house, buy a foreign car, have a business. These are some cliches that people strive to achieve in their lives. Such goals were popular in Germany 50 years ago. In these aspects, it can be said that they have well-being. What do they think about nowadays? Their thoughts are about clean air and where to take it. Why? Because cities drown in dirty air. The Germans spend huge amounts of money on building cleaning systems, modern electric cars to make the world cleaner. Every minute, 2 football fields of the forest, which were formed by hundreds or even 1,000 years, are cut down. I was thinking, what kind of lifestyle should I choose so that everyone would be happy? So I came to Bezvodnaya and I saw everything the Germans and Americans talk about. Everything is done here. Everything what the Holy Scriptures say, what smart people and economists talk about. Here it all comes together. So I stayed. I already had an education at that time, and even more than one. I fed cows. I ran after the shepherds, who were without teeth, and they swore. I asked them, what can I do? How can I help you? How do you feed? How do you overtake the bulls? Why didn't you go after that bull? Look, that one is going away. They were saying without enthusiasm, leave us alone, you drive us crazy. They're not very sociable. But I was still asking them for half a year, why do you take water like that? Why do you do this like this? Once I got to the point and realized that I had figured out everything, and I was put to feed the bulls by myself. By that time, I could manage a herd of 70 bulls. I knew everything about grazing. I learned shepherd's terms, shepherd's knots, sticks. I knew how to do it all. And so I became a shepherd. Before I began to communicate with bulls, I thought that there was a huge difference between animal and man. But there is only one difference. We can speak. On the other hand, if you listen to some people, there is nothing clever about what they speak. Bezvodnaya is an amazing place, because every 3 days one life is saved. Every 3 days 2, 3, 4 or 20 lives are saved. And the pace with which they're saved is impressive. I haven't seen this anywhere in the world, even in India. It doesn't exist anywhere. Not a long time ago, a cart with 2 calves arrived. They were wrapped like medieval prisoners. The calf in general is a defenseless creature. If you put your fingers in milk and then put your hand to his nose, he will follow you. Some people have such a perverted notion. They wrap these gullible creatures in chains, like they do with maniacs, put them into iron cubes and carry them somewhere. Some people are crazy. What is a calf? It's a calf. Why do you wrap them?
А что хорошего ты сделал?
что-то создал, или, может, помог кому. Ты рисовал свои планы мелом, и я не вижу их, и ты кричишь, что ну. И что теперь в тебе изменилось, смотри, ты постарел, но есть одно, не меняясь, осталось. И что теперь тебе нужно делать, когда ты понял суть свою? Кто ты есть, я звучу о тебе, о тебе. Я звучу о тебе. Душа,
The Ukrainian grey breed. There is a similar Hungarian grey breed. In India, we can see a zebu. They're all related cows. There's basically 1,000 of them left on the planet. The Ukrainian grey is a national heritage of Ukraine. Unfortunately, its livestock is decreasing. We started a conservation program for the Ukrainian grey breed. We already have several bulls, a cow, and a small heifer calf. We're really hoping that the livestock will grow and increase with our help and effort. It is because they're unique. They're very beautiful and unusual because they're red when they're born and then they become dark gray. During the winter they go dark, almost black. And when the summer comes they go practically white. They're the cows of 3 colors. They change their color depending on the time, the place and the circumstances. It's a very unique breed. We're doing our best to protect them and to save them from extinction.
I always found it extremely hypocritical to say I love animals while eating a burger or gnawing the bones. I was told you will be lonely, sick, and you will die soon if you become a vegetarian. It was in 2012. They tried to scare me saying that I will never get married, but it has been so many years already. I'm surrounded by wonderful people, my vegetarian friends. My husband is also a vegetarian. I'm not at all lonely. And you can see that it has been so many years. It's 2018 and I'm alive and healthy.
You can create a space of love on a certain territory where God's nature is obvious. It is pure primeval nature. However, it is very difficult, almost impossible, to find such spots of primeval nature because people have integrated their consciousness, some mechanism and things like that everywhere. We started looking for such place, went around many villages in Mykolaiv region. To be honest, we haven't even noticed that the village is called Bezvodne.
It all started from the fact that we were looking for some land where we would like to settle for a nice and beautiful spot. We were looking for different spots. And when Daneshwara Prabhu came, a wonderful spot came up. The first one where our first cows lived. It was quiet and modest village.
I lived in Bezvodne, in the village, and strange people started coming. They looked strange. They were different. They started buying houses, cows. When I saw Oleg, I was stunned by his sincere and beautiful smile. He was tanned and big. He's still like that. He has a beautiful smile and white teeth. It looks special.
I moved when I was 13. It was the peak of transition stage. When you don't accept anything your parents tell you, you're constantly defined. You want to express yourself, to go out with your friends. That was when I was taken to a far-off village. To be honest, also I really love nature and cows. And I like it from the very beginning. I couldn't come to terms with it. And only when I lived there for about 5 years, I started to feel drawn to the village. I was drawn to the cows. Also, I was drawn to them as soon as I saw them. Especially the calves. They are so cool. This is my life. My escape. When we moved, a lot of people had a question how a 12-year-old girl could be taken to a small village with only 3 or 4 streets. A lot of relatives and friends were worried that she wouldn't find anything interesting there, but soon there were no more questions. She has lots of friends from around the world, thanks to the internet and social networks. We have had a lot of visitors with whom she is friends now and is communicating. We have been to many festivals and have organized many festivals.
A great number of people have narrowed down the notion of love to sex, to making love. We just look at this notion from the spiritual point of view. The spiritual point of view is, first of all, respect and honoring the rights and life of every living being. So this territory where we live and work, and all our actions are directed at creating a space where there will be no violence of any kind and any form. This is the territory where we show ahimsa attitude. Ahimsa stands for non-violence in Sanskrit. Our interaction with cows, horses, dogs, birds and insects is based on the ahimsa principle. That is, we're trying to create the space for relationship harmonizing. Human intellect can serve to exploit the nature, but also it can serve to harmonize the relationship between the living beings. It is natural that some beings eat other beings. It is our task to understand that some things are meant to be eaten. It is normal. For example, a fox hunts a hare, but it doesn't take a 5-shooter, a telescope. It doesn't aim at and shoot at the hare for fun. No, it chases, it hunts, it uses its skills to catch the prey. And the hare has big ears to hear and to protect itself. These relationships are sinless. But as soon as people start using their intellect and exploit the nature for fun and pleasure, or to satisfy some of their selfish needs, the harmony is ruined. Bhumi is a unique example that you can set up a farm without killing. Many people ask us what we do with the bulls, the milk, and cows. Well, nothing. For example, we have lots of bulls and cows. Some of them are old and die their natural deaths. New ones are born instead. The livestock is growing bit by bit, but not exponentially as everyone thinks. While the livestock is growing, people can organize everything to live normal lives. Some people decided to steal our bulls that grazed on our pastures. They put ropes on them at night, took them outside of our territory, almost outside, to the outskirts of our territory. They butchered 2 of them right there at night. And Shiva was wounded. He managed to escape and ran directly to the farm. He came to the cowshed and started bellowing in a horrible way. The shepherd ran out, called me, and said, "Shiva is here with some rope. The side is scratched. He's bleeding." I got in a car and came as quickly as I could, and I saw that the rope wasn't ours and that the wound was from a knife. He was bellowing at the top of his lungs. We got in the car and went around our pastures. We saw that 2 bulls were missing and started searching the nearest territories. A car with a trailer came out of a wooded area and started escaping. We chased him for 2 hours on the bumps of the village roads. We saw the car and were trying to catch them. Then we called the police, who reacted quickly. In the end, they were caught. Some butchers were passing with a cow. It was old and very thin. I think they were lost. We asked them how much they wanted for the cow. When someone passes with a cow like that, it is difficult to let it go. We knew if we let it go, they will kill it. It means that its life is in our hands. They know that we always buy cows out. We never say, no, it's too expensive. They ask for an exorbitant price. So one young butcher, about 16, tells us that if we don't give him this amount of money, he will kill this cow and this calf. It sounded terrible. We tell him, "You're an Armenian. A mother is sacred for you. You drink milk from a cow and tell us that you are going to kill a mother? What kind of Armenian are you?" This is how we usually talk with them. In the end, they agreed to about 10,000 for a cow and a calf. We immediately found the money. We had to borrow some and to take from our savings, but we bought them and saved them that day. There is also a story of Vijay. He was running about and got a back injury. We tried to cure him for a long time. We used different methods, invited different doctors, asked for injections and for advice as to what we could do to cure him. They just looked at us and said, "Don't torture the animal, just kill it. This is the cure." We didn't want this. We created special training machines, stretching machines, tried to stretch him, put him on his feet, We were a little successful, but he still couldn't stand or walk. Although he wasn't in pain, half of his body was paralyzed. We massaged him, turned him to prevent trophic ulcers. At the time, our spiritual master was touring the country. His name is Alexander Hakimov. His spiritual name is Chaitanya Chandra Charan Prabhu. When we were showing him around our farm, we took him to a place where Vijay was lying. He came up to him, took off the flower garland. We have a tradition. When a respected visitor or any visitor comes to us, we put a flower garland on them to show our respect and admiration. So our spiritual master came, we gave him a garland, and he was walking around with it. And then, when he saw Vijay, he took off the garland and put it on his neck. He put his hand on his forehead for a couple of seconds, took some dried toast, and fed him. We went away at about 20 meters and gave our spiritual master some milk. As he was drinking the milk, we could see the healing. Vijay stood up. His joints were twisted because he had been paralyzed for half a year. You can't compare a paralyzed man and a 500-kilo paralyzed bull. We had to turn him over. So he stood up, twisted like that. He started making some steps since that day. Today he's one of the biggest bulls among our livestock. This is not wild grass, this is food. Do you understand?
It's interesting. I would not have figured it out without you.
Here you go to the store and buy some salad. You pay a lot of money. As for me, I come to the supermarket, and if I need a vinegar, I take plum.
It is really very sour. This is a good option.
Natural. If I need something sweet, I take some cherries, plums, or a bunch of grapes. We will plant a mulberry here, then somewhere we will plant an apple tree. Cherry or plum we will transplant from that bush here. Slowly it all will grow. This is a goose food.
That is right.
Yes, you can make pies and salads with it. This is a quinoa.
Probably you can make tea.
No, you cannot. Amaranth seeds. Can you see them? Like poppy. Here we grow tree saplings, and then we plant them on the territory. We don't pull out anything, but only add the plants. This is our principle. And then the trees show themselves which ones will grow and which won't. This is the rarest tree called Paulownia. This is the fastest growing tree in the world, one of the most expensive woods. It gives a very large amount of foliage, which is good for the soil. Now the soil is sick with psoriasis. It is bald. It should be 40 centimeters of biohumus, fallen leaves, where bugs and worms live. Now there is no place for them to live. The organics, leaves and stalks are not digested, so the fields are poured by chemistry. The worms are the teeth of the earth. They grind it all and turn it into organic fertilizer. So cows give manure, which eventually turns into this biohumus. Look, this is our garden bed. We're pushing the soil, and look, here is a worm. If we dig up this earth, We will see humidity and worms.
This is a fertile land.
It is fat, and we see that peppers are growing, cucumbers are blooming. Here are the saplings of nuts, and this is a paulownia. It is grown from seeds. It is big. Do I look plowed under?
No, you do not.
Do I look like an exhausted farmer? Although I am a farmer to the bone. This is one of the 5 most valuable products in the universe. There are only 5 of them. The Shastras, the scriptures, determine the 5 most valuable products. They all come from a cow. This is cow's urine, cow's dung, ghee. Ghee is a melted butter, which we spoke about, yogurt and milk.
Of course, the most extreme thing is cow's urine.
You will not deny the fact of urinotherapy, which is used in alternative medicine.
Yes, Lazarus, for example.
Yes, but this is a perverted concept of Vedic culture. People who use their own urine put themselves at risk for blood cancer. In ancient times, they were treated with urine, with cow's urine. People took cow's urine. Why? Because a cow is a unique animal. It has a 2-chamber stomach. Cow collects grass. A cow is a vegetarian. It eats grass. Despite this fact, a cow is a predator. A cow grows food inside itself. Countless bacteria grow on the grass, which a cow digests, and from it comes the fat content in milk and protein. The greater the range of herbs, the stronger these bacteria multiply, and the fatter milk. It doesn't smell.
No, it does not smell.
Do you know what is the most valuable thing in all this? This is bacteriophage. Bacteria against bacteria. The stomach is connected with the production of bacterial flora. It means that the bacterial suppression system must be presented in the immune system, otherwise they will simply tear it apart. That is why a cow has a whole range of bacteriophages. Bacteriophage is a living creature. Its goal is to find a bacterium of an unnecessary strain. Then bacteriophage joins the bacterium and injects its DNA into it. After some time, this bacterium is torn from the inside by an infinite number of the same bacteriophages. In other words, it is the divine immune system, and the whole spectrum of this immune system is in cow's dung. When you throw it into the water, these bacteriophages begin quickly disinfect the water, killing the bacteria in it, up to the viruses of tuberculosis and everything else.
Tell me, please, after this lecture, has anyone tried to eat a piece of manure?
Why anyone?
So you eat these things, is it right?
We rub it into dust, sprinkle it on a plate like spice. This is grass. If we go to the supermarket with this cake, I'm sorry for the directness, there's so much shit on the shelves comparing to this thing. On our territory, we have a large number of dry trees, huge dry trees. We have imposed the taboo on cutting these trees. Although a large number of people even cut down live trees, we don't even mention the fact that they are convinced that the dead wood must be removed from the forest. Why is it so important to let these dead wood stay in a forest? Because such trees are placed for development of various insects, which birds eat. Moreover, birds make hollows in such trees. They don't do it in alive trees. In these hollows, starlings settle. They destroy insects that harm fruit trees. If we cut down dry trees, we force out birds from our halo of habitat to the wild nature, where they catch these insects. As a result, we need to destroy these insects with chemistry. After that, it accumulates on our fruit and in our food. And then we eat them up, go to the pharmacy and start treatment. And this is not intelligence. This is not a manifestation of the mind. This is a primitive manifestation of the egoistic self. I want it so much. I think so. We ought to listen to the nature. Look carefully how it lives in an unreachable by people places, and simply create this oasis of love, mutual understanding, and harmony. Our friend Volodya Prabhu was engaged with apiary. Then his plans were changed, and he brought hives to the farm for storage. How were they kept? They were laid in a pile. Once I came to the farm, and I understood that something changed. A lot of bees were flying. I saw a huge tuber of bees hanging on a tree. I found some bugs, put it under the tree, and shook them off. They were all inside the box, so I closed it with the lid. It turns out that bees always follow the queen bee. There is a main queen bee and its smell. It sits on a branch, and the whole swarm sticks it around. Their smell persists. And when you shake the queen bee in the box, close it, leave a hole, the rest climb there inside, and then they start working there. They produce wax. A bee spends 3 kilograms of honey to produce 1 kilogram of a honeycomb. Then these honeycombs are filled with honey. And then the queen bee lays the larvae in these honeycombs. This is the way a family develops. And such family flew to our farm, and I shook it off in a box. Then the next day another family flew. And then another one, and all in all we had a whole attack of bees. 15 swarms in one season came to us at an apiary, and 15 beehives were filled with bees. I called Volodya Prabhu and asked what to do with them. He came and told me how to cope with them. Well, I have cows, bulls. How can I manage all this stuff? He came several times. I helped him and watched. And I like the organization of a bee family. There are no freeloaders. Everyone works and everyone fulfills its function and its destiny. Even drones. Sometimes we can hear the phrase, "you're a drone." It's kind of an insult, but their task is to sit in the hive and eat. Why do they eat? To be strong enough to fly after the queen bee in its fertile period. When an uterus needs to be fertilized, it flies as high as possible. Then it begins to connect and fall with the drone. While the queen bee falls, a few drones fertilize it. Intercourse occurs with the queen bee once in a lifetime. The queen bee divides the royal jelly that is formed for the rest of its life. Fructifying, the queen bee lives for 4 or 5 years. Everything in the hive goes around the queen bee. When the bees came to our farm, it became interesting to me. Why is it so? Everything is clear, everything is correct, everything is good in their organization. Bees are workers. They work 24 hours a day. They never sleep. They work all the time. Some clean honeycombs. Some carry honey. Others take this honey and shift it to another place. Some bees sit on a certain board and make ventilation with their wings. Some bees fly to the flowers, collect nectar and carry it. Old bees have erased wings, so their function is to protect the hive. If an object that looks like a bear appears, they immediately fly and bite. So their task is to die, protecting the family. So everyone cleans and washes something. It is very clean there. They blow, ventilate. Awesome. And I think of humankind. If it could settle down the same like a bee family. Well, I don't completely agree with the elements of drone, because fate is cruel there. But anyway, I understand that this is a harmony. They agree with that. They're born drones in order to make their destiny come true. The harmony exists there. Productivity is a result of this harmony. Bees produce honey much more than they need for wintering.
пользуясь сентиментами, там, например, решил оставить мед, вообще не трогать, не забирать, то есть, пускай будет, да, то есть, вот, я там разработал систему баночек, что лишнее они откладывают, и в улик я решил, думаю, не буду забирать. Так у меня
Once in winter, I left this honey with bees, and some families found it difficult to survive because there was a lot of honey. Honey picks up the cold, so they were like in a fridge. I'm studying now how much honey a family needs for wintering. It is important to let them stay healthy.
When we arrive from a city back here, I immediately feel that I step on a ground. This is a real happiness from the fact that you live. It is awareness of life. The city is very hard. After I lived here for many years, I understood it. A lot of people do not notice these things. For instance, villagers do not notice it. When can you compare it? When you walk with your feet on a real earth instead of asphalt. When you smell these herbs. Especially this silence, which delights and soothes very much. It gives strength.
I'm a materialist. From this material point of view, the protection of cows and life on Earth, it has a lot of advantages. Why? Even if you are a super rich man, you do not have access to normal products because you eat Spanish salad. You know that in Spain there is a huge greenhouse. It is the same size as Denmark. Russians and Ukrainians work there. Vegetables do not grow in the ground there. That is, all the vegetables that lie on the shelves in a supermarket in Koblevo, in Feodosia, in Kiev, in Lviv, it is all produced there in this Spanish greenhouse. People from East work there. And there is a tomato just hangs in the air. What about its root? It is in cotton. These tomatoes are made by a mineral drip method. Even if you have $1 million, you can't drink milk, because what is being sold is no longer milk. If you take any brand of milk, Kaskova, for example, or any other, these brands are already 20 years old. But the taste of milk does not change. What does this mean? That this is all a lie. There is no milk, because the taste of milk changes. It depends on a cow, on what mood she has, what she eats, what the weather is, what the temperature of the air is. But their milk is always the same. They have a chemical formula, and they sell milk using it. No matter how much money you have, you do not have access to a pumpkin, apples. You do not know what cabbage is. You do not know what spices are, because there is no such thing in the world anymore. Well, this is aggression. Now turn on the TV and watch. It is not clear what are people fighting for. What are they dividing? Some attack others, others attack the next. They're dropping bombs. What for? You're in the same house. In the same house. Why do you blow up shells in this house? Just negotiate. Just love each other. Just feed each other with a spoon. It would be better if they threw bombs of mercy on those cities, places, and conflicts. Humanitarian aid everywhere, where conflict appears. It would be necessary to throw a lot of gifts for people.